One of the most confusing and sometimes frustrating things for parents of students with ADHD is watching their child focus intensely on something they enjoy. Maybe they can play a video game for 3 hours straight. Maybe they can become completely absorbed in music or art or sports or motorcycles or makeup, coding, or research a topic that fascinates them. But when it's time to begin chemistry homework, they suddenly can't focus for 10 minutes. And it's understandable for parents to think you obviously can focus. You just aren't choosing to focus on school. But ADHD does not mean that a person is completely unable to focus. The difficulty is often directing and sustaining attention consistently, especially when the task is boring, repetitive, confusing, mentally demanding, or doesn't provide immediate feedback. Think about what many games provide. There's a clear objective. The player knows what they're supposed to do next. Something changes immediately when they take an action. They receive constant feedback. They can see their progress. There are frequent challenges, rewards, surprises, and opportunities to try again. Now compare that with chemistry assignment. The student may open a page containing 20 problems that all look nearly identical. Then they may not know which formula applies. They may not understand what the first question is even asking. They may work for 15 minutes without knowing whether they're doing it correctly. And the reward? A grade on an assignment or a test, and it may be days or weeks away. The student can care deeply about the grade and still struggle to activate for a task that produces it. That doesn't mean games are good and homework is bad. And it doesn't mean that the student has no responsibility for learning how to work through tasks that they don't enjoy. Every person has to do things that aren't immediately interesting. But saying you can focus on that game, so I know you can focus on chemistry, kind of misses the important difference between the two experiences. One activity may naturally provide structure, clear goals, immediate feedback, visible progress, and repeated opportunities to succeed. The other may begin with uncertainty and provide very little feedback until the student has already invested a significant effort. Chemistry can make that gap especially visible. A student may look at the problem and have to decide, what is this asking me to find? Which information even matters? What do these symbols mean? Which equation or relationship should I use? How do I know whether my answer is reasonable? Before they have answered any of those questions, their brain is already carrying a heavy load. If the first step is unclear, attention may drift. Before the work has even started, the parent sees the student checking their phone or opening a game and assumes that the distraction caused the problem. And sometimes it did. But sometimes the student reached for the distraction after becoming stuck and overwhelmed. That distinction matters because removing the phone may remove the escape without solving the reason they wanted to escape in the first place. The answer isn't to turn every chemistry assignment into a video game. The answer is to borrow some of that structure that makes the engaging activities easier to enter and give the student one clear target instead of an entire worksheet. Define the first action. Provide feedback before they repeat the wrong process 10 times. Make progress visible. Use a short, defined work period instead of saying, go study chemistry. For example, instead of finish all 20 problems, try, let's identify what the first 3 problems are asking. Then choose the first one that you can begin. Instead of saying, study until you understand the chapter, try something like, for the next 15 minutes, solve one problem without notes and check it. Instead of waiting until the entire assignment is complete to find out whether they understand it, build in smaller checkpoints. The goal is not to entertain the student constantly. The goal is to make the work clear enough that their attention has somewhere specific to go. So when your student can focus on a hobby but struggles with chemistry, don't assume that proves they don't care. Ask instead, what is different about the activity that holds their attention? Is the goal clear? Is the feedback faster? Can they see their progress? Do they know what to do next? And how can we bring some of that structure into their schoolwork? The student still needs to develop persistence, but persistence becomes much more possible when the task has a clear entry point. In the next lesson, we'll look more closely at why students who appear lazy or unmotivated may actually be struggling with activation, uncertainty, or overwhelm. Before you move on, think about one more activity that naturally holds your students' attention. Don't focus only on what the activity is, but look at what that activity provides that homework doesn't. Share one thing that you notice or write it down for yourself. Thanks. Have a great one.